Hello Year 6 and welcome to Tuesday's maths lesson. So for today you need this book, your book that was delivered in the last bubble closure, and you are looking at pages 10 and 11. Okay, and it is primes, factors and multiples. Now there's a mixture of learning today, so it's some learning that we've already done and a little bit of new learning as well. Okay, so the first question here asks you to circle the numbers that are multiples of 6. Now, multiples are just numbers that are in that times table. You can use your 6 times table for that. So circle all the numbers that are in your 6 times table. It's any number that can be divided by 6 without leaving a remainder. So it's numbers in that times table. Okay. Now, the second bit is something that we haven't done before. Now, that's prime numbers. Okay, so I'm just going to talk over two things to help you with prime numbers. I'm going to talk over prime numbers, but I'm also going to talk over factors to help you. Okay, I'm going to start with factors. Now, factors are numbers that can be multiplied together to make a certain number. So I think the best way for me to show you is to show an example of that. So I've got 12 and 18. Now I'm going to think about numbers that I can multiply together to get 12. So the best way for me to do that is to start with a number. So I'm going to start with 1. So what do I multiply 1 by to get 12? So I know that I do 1 times 12. Okay, so 1 and 12 multiply together to get 12. They are factors. So 1 and 12 are factors of 12. Okay, so let's see if we can know any other pairs. So 2 then. So 2, I know that 2 multiplied by 6 is 12. So 2 and 6 are factors of 12. Okay, 3 then. So I know that 3 multiplied by 4 gives me 12. So those are factors of 12 as well. So then if I carried on, it'd be 4 again. So that'd be 4 and 3 again. 5, I can't multiply 5 by anything to get 12. 6, I've already got 6 and 2. 7, no. 8, 9, no. So I think I've got them all. Okay, so 1, 12, 2, 6, 3 and 4 are the factors of 12 because they can be multiplied together to get 12. Okay, also 12 can be divided by any of these without leaving a remainder. Okay, so they are factors. So if I did the same with 18 to give you another example, so I'd start with 1 again, 1 and 18, 2 and 9, 3 and 6, and I don't think there's any more. Okay, 4 I can't multiply by anything to get 18, 5 no, 6 I've already got, 7 no, 8 no, 9 no, 10 no. Okay, so I've got them all. So 1, 18, 2 and 9, 3 and 6 are all factors of 18. If I divided 18 by any of these numbers, I'd get a whole number. Okay, so these are factors. Now that leads me on to prime numbers. So some numbers, when you do that, like I've done these bubbles, they have only got 1 in themselves. Okay, so if I give you number 2, for example, so number 2, if I tried to think of the factors, I could do 1 and 2. But can I think of any more? Can I multiply 3 by anything to get 2? No. 4, no. 5, 6, no. 7, no. So there's no other number. 2 hasn't got any other factors. It's only got 1 and itself. Okay, so if I look at number 3, it's got 1 and 3. But I can't think of any others. I can't do 4 multiplied by something is 3. Can't do 5, can't do 6, can't do 7 or 8 or 9 or 10. Okay, so none of these. So 2 and 3 have only got 1 and themselves that are factors. Okay, so if numbers have only got 1 and themselves as a factor, they are called prime numbers. Okay, so prime numbers have only got 1 and themselves as a factor. So your second question, okay, asks you to list all of the prime numbers between 1 and 20. So all of those numbers that have only got 1 and themselves as a factor. Okay, so you could go through each number between 1 and 20 and see what factors they've got to help you. Okay, so that's prime numbers. So on the second one, you've got to do all of the prime numbers between 1 and 20. If you have to go through them, do number 1, do number 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. That might help you. See if they've only got one in themselves, they are a prime number. Okay, so that's number 2. Then the next one, you've got a little chart here. Okay, and it asks you, sorry, I can't get it exactly on the camera. So it's got a little diagram, and you've got multiples of 5, multiples of 3, even and odd. So it put 3 numbers that are less than 40 into each section of the table. So multiples of 5 means just numbers that are in the 5 times table. If you divide them by 5, you wouldn't get a remainder. Okay? And even and odd, let me just remind you of even and odd. So even and odd numbers, so your even numbers, so if they are even, they end, so all even numbers end in either 2, sorry, I'll start with, so they either end in 0, 2, 4, 6, or 8. So all even numbers end in 0, 2, 4, 6, or 8. So 22 is even, 30 is even, 46 is even. If they end in 0, 2, 4, 6, or 8, then they are even. Okay, if they are odd, they end in 3, 5, 7, or 9. Okay, or 1. Sorry, I've missed 1 out. So if they are even, it's 0, 2, 4, 6, and 8. If they are odd, they end in 1, 3, 5, 7, or 9. So for example, on here, for this first one, a multiple of 5 that is even would be 20, because that's in the 5 times table, it's less than 40, and it ends in a 0, which makes it even. A multiple of 3 that is odd, so in this box, would be 9, okay, because that's an odd number and it's in the 3 times table. So the next one then, you've got to circle the numbers that are factors of 48. So I've just spoken to you about factors. So if I was you, I would, on a little piece of paper, so I would work out what the factors of 48, exactly using the strategy that I used. So start with 1 and 48. Then can you multiply 2 by something to get 48? Oh, yes, you can. 24. Can you multiply 3 by something to get 48 and go through all of the numbers? Okay, and then you can circle the ones here that are factors of 48. Okay, so I would be able to circle 24 because I know that 2 times 24 is 48. Okay, right. The next bit then talks about prime numbers again. So here you've got numbers here, and you've got to sort them into the correct columns, either composite numbers, which I'll talk about in a moment, or prime. Now remember, prime have only got 1 and themselves as a factor. Okay, they are not in any of the other times tables. Okay, so that's your prime numbers. Composite numbers are your other numbers, numbers that have got more factors. Okay, so 6, for example, you've got 1 and 6, 2 and 3. Okay, so that would be a composite number. Okay, so 10, for example, here, 10 has got 1 and 10, it's got 2 and 5. So that would be a composite number because it's got more factors. 11 would be a prime number because you can only do 1 and 11. There's no other ways by multiplying 2 numbers together that you can get 11, well, 2 whole numbers together that you can get 11. Okay, so all of this is to do with whole numbers, not decimals. The next bit is factor pairs for each number. So do something like this, a bubble, and do your factor pairs. So for what numbers would you multiply together to get 40? So you could do 1 and 40, 2 and 20, 4 and 10, so all of the factor pairs. Now this next bit is the prime factors. So write the numbers multiplied together as a product of their prime factors. So if I take this next as an example, so 6. So I'm going to think of all of the examples, all the factors of 6 first. Okay, so I've got 1 and 6, 2 and 3, 4 I can't, 5, 6, 7. I've already done 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. No, so they are the factors of 6. 1 and 6, 2 and 3. Now I've got to write a multiplication to make 6, but only using the ones that are prime numbers. Now 1 isn't a prime number, okay? So 1 is not classed as a prime number, so I can't use that one. I already know that 6 has got more factors than itself and 1, so I've got to use 2 and 3. So 2 multiplied by 3 is 6. So I can only use numbers on number 3 on page 11 that are prime numbers. Okay, right, the last one then here asks you to list the common factors of these pairs of numbers. So I've got to find all the factors of 66. So I again would use a little bit of paper or some space on the page. So I've got to find all the factors of 66 and all the factors of 24. Okay, so I've got 1 and 66, 2 and 33. I've got 6 and 11. I've got 3 and 22. Okay, so quite a few factors for 66. Then 24, there's lots of factors. So I've got 1 and 24, 2 and 12, 3 and 8, 4 and 6, 5, there isn't one, 6 I've already done, 7, there isn't one, 7, no, 8 I've done, 9, no, 10, no, 11, no, 12 I've already done, okay? So now I've got to find which factors 66 has got and 24. So they've both got 1, they've both got 2, they've both got 3, they both haven't got 4, they've both got 6, and that's it. So the common ones, the ones that they have both got, are the ones I've circled. So 1, 2, 3 and 6, and you would do that for all of those pairs. Okay, again, as always, please get in touch if you are struggling. It is difficult when you are at home. Okay, and keep going, and I'll see you tomorrow.